Welcome to Have a Ball Writing Your First Novel. Week 1, Session 3. I'd like to introduce you to somebody. Look familiar? Yeah, that's me. I was 3 years old. We'll get back to this picture later when we are in the prompts section of this session. Ever notice how kids play? When they make up stories, they just roll from one idea to the next. Jimmy says, oh, yeah, and then we're going to do this, and then Mikey's going to go over here, and then Sally jumps in, and she has an idea, and they're just bouncing ideas off of each other, and sometimes they're actually bouncing off of each other. There's no great plan. There's no particular outcome. Maybe what they come up with makes sense. Oftentimes it doesn't. Oftentimes it doesn't make logical sense. And that's okay, because that's not the point. The point is, there is no point. Children just are. Play is a state of being, not a goal, not a product. As adults, when we have an exchange of creative ideas, we call this brainstorming. Often we're in suits, conference room, we have rules for how to share our ideas, and someone's capturing it all on a whiteboard, and then someone else types it up and emails it to everyone for review. I like the way kids do it better. In writing my first novel, I play the way children do. I tap into that mashup of ideas, often while propped in my bed, 4 pillows behind my back, sitting on the beach, my toes dug in the sand. Other times I'm in front of my computer, hypnotized, entranced by all the images that flow by me because I'm collecting images for my artwork. I play with my novel when I'm sitting in my car at a traffic light, waiting for the light to turn green. I play with character tags and their previous history, and I hear snippets of dialogue, and I see scenes. So, if writing doesn't come from studiously sitting at the computer erect or having someone breathing down your neck, because you're being pressured to complete a deadline, when does it occur? The answer is in trance. Trance is an altered state of consciousness. And while some people achieve this through chemical substances, we're not talking about that here, there is such a thing as a natural high, a state of being where you are relaxed, you let go of control, and you allow to happen in the moment whatever it is that is happening in the moment. There's a popular book uh, called Flow, and that book, written by a Hungarian psychology professor, describes this state. So in flow, trance, altered state of consciousness, not only is there pleasure, there's clarity, insight, answers to problems often we've been grappling with for a long time, and boop, they spontaneously pop up when we allow our conscious mind, our logical mind, distance from it, so that our play mind, our trance mind, can go to work doing what it does organically. If you are a runner, you experience this all the time, and the term that runners use is the zone. So trance, zone, flow, we move in and out of these states all day long. It's part of being human. Okay? I maintain that play and other organic states are the entryways to your best writing, especially when you're writing a novel for the first time. What are some of the other states? Long drives. Anybody who drives, who's been on the highway for more than a couple of hours, knows how you can just check out. Your hands are on the wheel, your body's in the car, but you don't have to make any turn. You don't need to know about an exit for another hour and a half, and so your mind begins to wander. That's flow, that's trance. You daydream. That's another state, daydreaming. You see somebody in a supermarket and say, oh, that person is so good looking and interesting. I'd love to have dinner with them. And then you begin to imagine this scenario of what it would be like to be sharing a meal with them and having a wonderful conversation. And yet your hand is on the tomatoes, but you're caught in this fantasy world that you've created. You're in flow, you're in trance. We talked about long distance running. Also, any large muscle group activity, running, cycling, long distance walking, will engender the state of flow, being in the zone, rhythm, the groove, tip of the tongue experience. We've all reached for a word. What was the name of that movie? What was the name of that actress? What's the title of that book? And if we try to clutch and claw and grab at it, often it eludes us when we are trying to actively get to it. So over dinner, when somebody mentions the name of that movie and nobody can think of the actor who starred in it, even though we all can see his face and it's on the tip of our tongue, somewhere between the Clams Casino and the arugula salad with blue cheese, when everybody's relaxed, it pops up. In the shower, again, we can get clean in 5 minutes, but we tend to stay in there longer because we love that sort of meditative trance-like feeling we get when the water beats down on our back. Finally, the hypnopompic and hypnagogic states, kind of a mouthful, but these are actually among my two favorites for cultivating the raw material for my first novel. These states describe the transition period between wakefulness and sleep, going into it hypnagogic and coming out of it hypnopompic. And that's another trance state, and we'll talk more about how to cultivate that state in particular, but I suspect that if you wake up in the middle of the night and you have to pee, as many of us do, when you wake up, you've got imagery and ideas and notions that, oh, the name of that actor that you couldn't remember at dinner. That's a trance state, and you can actively cultivate that state. I'm not talking about the actual dreams. I'm talking about the transition between sleep when you were dreaming and when you awake, okay, going in and going out of that state. So 3 prompts for this session. Three. Number 1, be aware of how children play. They might be your children, grandchildren, nieces, nephews, neighborhood children. When I'm in the big box retail store, I'm fascinated by how fascinated kids are with everything. They play with everything. A spatula, an old man's hat, it all becomes play. And the possibilities are everywhere. Your second process prompt. Be a child at play. Remember her? Yeah, you remember me? Okay, I'm Gina, 3 years old. You have a version of you when you were between the ages of 3 and 7. Go find him or her if you don't already have him or her readily available, and you may. I don't wish to assume at all that some of you are completely disconnected from your child self. That was my issue, but I'm not putting my stuff on you. However, if you do not have any of these young images of you available, dig them out. That's part of the process prompt, and find one that makes you smile and make it available on your nightstand, where you gather your mail, where you leave your car keys. We talked about this in session 2, rain puddles and mud pies, I called it. Adults walk around rain puddles, children walk right through them. As for mud, that's not dirt. That's ingredients. That's an ingredient for pie. Your third process prompt, notice your trance states throughout the day. I shared some examples that most humans experience because what we have in common is the fact that we are human. And our minds, in very foundational ways, work similarly. So notice when your trance states occur, what happens, and just pay attention. Ideas will pop up. Gee, I haven't thought about that in years. Okay? Those are your prompts for this week. And I will see you in session 4.